السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. وبعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. O you who have attained faith, be mindful, be conscious, be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a manner that's befitting His glory and praise, and die not except in the state of loving surrender, the state of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وبعد. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that created. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is the one that's in control. Nothing happens in this universe except with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most powerful. Things we all know. But sometimes we live realities that we see oppression is everywhere. We see sometimes an oppressive person or an oppressive nation oppressing other people, and nobody seems to be able to check them out. And we see that those oppressors seem to have power, seem to have strength. And subhanAllah, the people of righteousness, the people are not standing for the truth. And something is wrong, and Ya Rabbi, why? How can things change? It looks impossible. And sometimes we start to lose hope. And today I want to share with you a story from our Islamic history that has to do with this verse, يَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plot. You will see some people that hate Islam. You will see some people that hate Muslims. You will see some people, and they plot. They're intelligent. And they really plot very well, and they're very intelligent in what they do. And their plots are like, as in another verse, mountains can be removed because of the strength of their plots. They plot really well. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَمْكُرُونَ. They plot, they plan. وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ. And Allah plots, and Allah plans. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. And Allah is the best of planners. إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا فَمَهِّلِ الْكَافِرِينَ أَمْهِلْهُمْ رُوَيْدًا. They plot and they plan, and I plot and I plan. Give them respite. They will see. It will come to an end. Sometimes when people plot, their plot is to their own demise. And I want to share with you today an example from our Islamic history. a very powerful story, very strong story with so many lessons that I think in those times we need to reflect on. And the story has to do with our ummah as a whole, but also with an individual. One individual that led to the change the world, change the history of our ummah, change the history of the world. And the story that I'm speaking about happened in the year about 650 Hijri, which is about 1250. Like we're speaking 800 years ago, roughly. And at that time, something happened. Muslims were there. The Khilafah was there. And you had the Abbasi Khilafah. But a new force came to power. The Mongols. The Mongols came to power. And they invaded and they destroyed and they took China. And then they turned towards the Muslim Ummah. And at that time, there is a Dawla al-Khawarizmiyya, you know the area of Bukhara, the great city of Imam al-Bukhari and Samarkand, powerful nation under a ruler, Alauddin ibn Muhammad ibn Khawarizm, right? And whatever he was, he tried to resist the Mongols, but they destroyed everything. They came and they invaded and destroyed what is known today as Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Faris, which is Iran. 1 year, they took the whole region, they destroyed everything. They say the region had more than 3 million Muslims. By the time they left, it was only 200,000. They killed millions, but they didn't stop there. As you know, they went to Iraq, they went to the Khilafah itself, to the city of Baghdad. And surely enough, this force, and what can we say, barbarians, they succeeded in destroying the Khilafah. They went into Baghdad and they killed the Khalifa of the Muslimin. And as you know what happened in Baghdad, it is said 800,000 to 1 million died. It was terrible by all means. Really genocide. And authors, Muslim authors of the time, like Ibn al-Athir, when they write about those events, they were so thinking it's the end of the world. Because this force, the Mongols, nobody can stop them. They're unstoppable. And they would write, Ibn al-Athir would write, I am writing the condolences of Islam. Meaning what? Khalas. It's maybe the Mahdi will appear, this is the end of times. There is no hope. Those people, nobody stops them. And khalas, the cities of Sham started to surrender to them. Damascus and Halab and, khalas, there is no way. And when we read our Islamic history, we see all the Mongols got defeated where? In Egypt. It was the Mamluks of Egypt that defeated the Mongols in the Battle of Ain Jalut. They defeated one of the armies of the Mongols, and that's where we put a stop to it. The story is lacking one thing. Okay, it's true. The Mamluks of Egypt, with some scholars, rose and they fought a great battle of Ain Jalut and they defeated the Mongols in Egypt. But here is the question, something is missing. You defeated one army of the Mongols. Hulagu was still there. You defeated one of his armies. The question is, why didn't he ever return? The Mongol Empire was still there. Okay, we defeated them in Ain Jalut. What about Baghdad? Who recovered Baghdad? What about the rest of the Muslim Ummah? They were still there. Why didn't they ever come back again? Because they could. Hulagu can come with more forces, hundreds of thousands, and Egypt by itself is too small to stand against such a powerful thing. What's missing? See, I'm speaking about the Muslim Ummah, the affairs of the whole Ummah. In a time that's worse than now, when people thought that's it, that's the end. There is a story of one person that led to a change. I'm not speaking about Qutuz and Bibars, which what we like to speak about, the ones that defeated the Mongols in Ain Jalut. No. There is a truce hero. And the hero that I'm speaking about is a woman. And many of us do not know her. She changed. Remember Muhammad ibn Khawarizm, the leader of Samarkand and Bukhara? When the Mongols, when Hulagu invaded and they did what they did, they wanted to humiliate him. So they destroyed all his armies and they captured his family members, those tyrants. And what did they do? They started killing the males. And what do you think they did to the females? To humiliate him, they took his young daughters and said, now they are going to be slaves. We're going to make them the slaves of us. And Genghis Khan of the time, we looked at one of the daughters of Muhammad ibn Khawarizm. Her name was Risala Khatun. And she was so pretty, so beautiful, had a good character, good Muslim. And he was impressed by her beauty. So he took her, you're a slave. And he gave her to his son. Here, son, I'm giving you You know, this was a Muslim princess was one day. And look at the turn of affairs. From a princess, a young woman, one that's a good Muslim. Now, I'm a slave of who? Genghis Khan, the tyrant, and he gave me to his son, the one that's killing the Muslims left and right. If you were that woman, what would you do? You can do nothing. Nobody can help you. The Muslim Ummah, the Khalifa himself can't help himself. You would think your future is gone. But Risala Khatun, this woman did something other people in our Muslim Ummah did not. Our Ummah was defeated because we were psychologically defeated. People thought we cannot fight the Mongols. They're undefeatable. And they played this warfare against us. They convinced Muslims they cannot fight. They would send letters to the Muslims using the Quran. Allah's not with you. Allah's going to destroy you as said in your Quran. But Risala Khatun, although her situation was really bad, she decided, I'm still a Muslim. And she started practicing as much as she can. Although her situation was dire to the extent that the son of Genghis Khan, Joji, was so impressed with this young woman. It's a slave, but he was so impressed with her character and her Muslim heritage, and he became, he freed her and he married her. Wait a minute, he's a kafir. He cannot marry a Muslim, but what can she do? She was under a condition, nobody can help her. That's the reality. It's a sad reality. She is trapped. You would think someone in her position can do nothing to help herself, let alone help her ummah. Change the world. But yet, she started doing what? Practicing her Islam as much as she can. Started speaking to him. She convinced him to be lenient towards Muslims. And he started what? To spare Muslims in his region. But then she had a son from him. What can you do? A son of a kafir and raised by the Mongols, and he's going to be one of the Mongol princes killing Muslims. Can you imagine? It's a nightmare. A nightmare for any parent to see your kid, not only a non-Muslim, one that kills, unbelievable. But Risala Khatun, in this condition, living among them, in their place, started speaking to her son about Islam. Resisting everything else. Everybody speaking to him about his heritage. Genghis Khan, you're the one, and you're going to be a prince one day, and yet she started doing what? La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasulullah. Muhammad Rasulullah. The character of the Prophet. Embodied the character in herself. Her son became impressed. But he's confused. Which one should I believe? So one day, when he was a youth, she told him, you're traveling to the Mongolia. On the way back, stop by the city of Bukhara and meet one of the scholars there, Najmuddin Zairi. Meet with him and ask him your questions. And this young man complies. He goes and he meets the scholars on the scholar on the way back and started asking him, I'm impressed with my mother, but why is Islam the right religion? Who is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Why should I believe in him? And the scholar started answering and answering and answering, and this young man became so interested. So he told him, write me a book. Write me a book about Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I'm impressed by him, about his character, how he's a prophet, his miracles, who he was. And he wrote a book for him, a small booklet, Al-Risala al-Nasiriyya. We still have it. And this young man takes the book, reads it, it answered all his questions. He clarified why Christianity is not the right religion, what Buddhism and Islam is the right religion. This young man returns his mother and tells her, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I am a Muslim now. And I am going to work for Islam. That was the time when the Abbasi Khilafah was destroyed. Holako was doing this. That was the time that Holako was in Egypt. And once this young man renamed himself, he called himself Baraka Khan. And he rose to power. And he built a city called Sarai Baraka and built Islamic schools. And then he announced, Islam is the religion of my state. He split from the Mongols, the Golden Horde, if you heard the name, and said, in my region, we are Muslims, Islam is the religion of the state, invited scholars to come. Hundreds of thousands of Mongols became Muslims. And then he sent a letter to Baybars and Qutuz, the Mamluks that were fighting in Ain Jalut, and he said, I say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Holako, the one that's doing this is my cousin. I'm the grandson of Genghis Khan himself. Yet I'm a Muslim, and Islam comes first. And those people, my kind, they are kuffar, and I will stand against them. and I will fight them for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yet, they're my kind. The Mongols, I'm a Mongol, but I'm a Muslim first. And then he sent to Qutuz after Ain Jalut, do not worry, Hulaku's not going to return to you. Why? I am attacking Hulaku. The reason the Mongols did not go back to Egypt again, because the real hero of the story was Baraka Khan. Stood to them, fought them, started spreading Islam, defeated Hulaku numerous times. Many of the soldiers of Hulaku ended up converting to Islam. It is said that Hulaku died out of about what Baraka Khan did. He really took vengeance for the Muslims from that oppressive ruler. This story that we see, oh, there is a hero. The hero is Baraka Khan, right? This man, put Allah first, put La ilaha illallah first, save the Muslim Ummah. But I'm going to ask you this. Where did Baraka Khan come from? Who is the real hero of the story? The one that we do not speak about. His mother, Risala Khatun. That woman, despite everything that was happening, despite the Muslim Ummah surrendering to Hulaku, despite the Muslim Ummah being psychologically defeated, she was not defeated. She did what she can. She stood for La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, continued to speak to her son. She's the one that led to change. Sometimes I can be in a situation when I'm trapped. Some of the sisters know this very well. Can't escape. As I can't. And it feels I'm helpless. I don't lose hope. I do what I can. ما لا يدرك كله لا يترك كله. It's an Islamic principle. If I cannot do something in its entirety, I do as much as possible as I can from it. That's what she did. She was not defeated. And Allah brought victory on her son. The grandson of Genghis Khan. And you know what happened? Because he had scholars around him. Hulaku's soldiers became Muslims later. And Hulaku's grandson accepted Islam later. And both the Golden Horde and Al-Khanat became Muslims. That's how we recovered Baghdad. That's how nobody conquered them. They became Muslims. Because of one woman. One woman that stood and believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and raised her son as such. Did not give up. Today we need to see this. Because some of us feel trapped, helpless, hopeless, and we want to give up. Don't give up. Even sisters. A woman changed the history of the world and the history of Islam. Saved millions of Muslims. Because she put La ilaha illallah first. And her son, a true hero. But we don't speak about those people. We don't realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I want you to see how we started this khutbah and how did the change happen? Wasn't it Genghis Khan himself? He's the one that took her, subhanallah, and gave her to his son. You know the story of Musa and Fir'aun? Musa was raised by the Pharaoh only to destroy him. It's repeating. Genghis Khan, you conquered the Muslims. You wanted to humiliate Muhammad ibn Khawarizm and the Muslims. Look what you've done. The very woman that you wanted to humiliate Muslims and you make her a slave, you gave her to your son. She made your grandson Muslims and he fought your empire and destroyed it. And he made all the Mongols, most of them, Muslims, saying La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. We must not lose faith. We must always have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. We never despair from the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ever, like Yusuf alayhi salam and again his father Yaqub alayhi salam, never gave up. He lost his son Yusuf alayhi salam. Decades later, he was telling his son, go seek Yusuf. Are you still? Yes, Allah's ultimate. I will not give up. Allah will make a way for us, brothers and sisters. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على أفضل المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. وبعد. Point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in control. Allah plans. Our duty, what we learn from this story, we always put La ilaha illallah first. We learn from Baraka Khan, the one that used to write to Weber's letters. And he would fight Holak when thousands would die, and he would cry, literally. And he would say, it grieves me to see my fellow brothers, the Mongols, he's from them, killed like this, but what can I do? And he would tell them, Holako is my cousin. But for the sake of Islam, for the sake of La ilaha illallah, I put Allah first. With his mother, Risala Khatun, no matter where we are, no matter how weak you think you are, no matter how your situation is hopeless and you are trapped. She was really trapped. There was no hope for her. Nobody can rescue her. She can barely take care of herself and nobody will blame her actually. But she not only changed her reality, she changed the life of the Muslim Ummah. Do not underestimate. I know some of us are under very terrible or very hard conditions. Maybe it's you that Allah will bring change onto. Raising our kids in a situation, she raised her kids in the midst of what? Mongol Empire. There is no Muslim schools. Where is the masajid? She tried her best. And she was able with her sincerity to make her kid eventually a Muslim. We live in a much better situation. We have masajid. We have schools. We have the Quran. Please, my kid and your kid, maybe they're the next Baraka Khan, ya akhi, you don't know. Maybe I'm trapped. But if I'm trapped, maybe victory will come on myself. Please, let's put effort in our kids. Let's teach them what she taught him. Be after the truth. Not my tribe and my ethnicity and my nationality. And no. Where is the truth? And then I stand for the truth. The truth is beyond anything. The truth is beyond, I'm Egyptian, it doesn't matter. If the truth is against Egypt, I'll fight Egypt. If I was raised in Egypt in the time of the Pharaoh, which side should I be on? The side of my kind, the Pharaoh? Or the slaves of the Pharaoh, Bani Israel? I should be on their side, because they have the truth. Standing against my own kind. This is the concept of al-wala wal-bara. Al-wala wal-bara, that my loyalty, Allah, is my loyalty, my allegiance is to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My own kind. لا تجد قوما يؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر يوادون من حاد الله ورسوله ولو كانوا آباءهم أو أبناءهم أو إخوانهم. You will not find people that believe in Allah and His Messenger show love and allegiance to people that believe in Allah and His Messenger, even if they're their fathers and brothers and sisters. أولئك كتب في قلوبهم الإيمان. Those people, Allah put in their heart Iman. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us internally, to make this decision. I'm Muslim, La ilaha illallah first. 2, beware of psychological warfare. Our enemy always wants us to give up. We're defeated when we are psychologically defeated. When we start thinking, I can't fight. We cannot do anything. It's hopeless. They're more powerful than us. This is how the Mongols won. And they were defeated when one person decided, no, we can do something. And there is hope. And I will still be a Muslim. And I'll do my best and Allah will plot. And Allah can make their plot turn against them. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us live long enough to see the table turn. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us live long enough to see Islam rise again. And I ask Allah to make us live long enough to see the Masjid al-Aqsa and Jerusalem returning back to the Muslims, and we are praying in it while it's under the control of our Muslim brothers and sisters. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم حبب إلينا الإيمان وزينه في قلوبنا وكره إلينا الكفر والفسوق والعصيان واجعلنا من الراشدين. اللهم رد أمة محمد إلى لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله والتحقق بذلك. اللهم ارزقنا سلام الإسلام وأمن الإيمان وحسن الإحسان. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم وأقم الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا اعتدلوا. Before we pray, I've been asked to comment on like kids in the masjid. We are more than happy to have the kids in the masjid. They're our next generation. We welcome kids in the masjid. That's the next generation. Please bring your kids to the masjid. And please, for us adults, be patient if they slip here and there. This is our future. Remember Barakah Khan, right? And at the same time, for mothers and fathers, do your best to teach your kids the manners of Islam. Try your best. And if it slips here and there, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually raise them as good Muslims. استووا اعتدلوا. الله أكبر. سبحانك اللهم تبارك اسمك ولا إله إلا أنت. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallahu khairan, Brother Hassan Elwan, as you deliver, mashallah, marvelous khutbah. As you leave the masjid, please do not forget to help Masjid Umar. We have bills to pay, utility bills. They amount about $3,300. So each one, whatever you can dig in, $1, $5, $100, whatever you can chip in, it will help us to sustain ourselves and pay for the invoices, the utility, power, electricity, everything else. We also have something unique coming up on the 27th of October. Masjid Umar, along with other masajid, we have a festivity coming up for the community at large. This Masjid Umar, along with Masjid Bilal, along with Masjid Sharif, Long Beach, the Hispanic Muslim community, and many other institutions enroll with us to be in this community festivity in Long Beach, in El Dorado Park, on Saturday, the 27th of October. Please mark your calendar. It's going to be interesting because unique. We never had this before. This is something first time that's ever the community come together, starting with us here at Masjid Umar. So we ask each and everyone if you can partake and enjoy a community get together. It's a festivity with food and everything else for all of us. So tell your relatives, your friends, come and have that unity with all of us, inshallah. Also, do not forget when you pray for the Sunnah, do not forget the brothers and sisters across the globe, especially in Palestine, Gaza, Lebanon been also under siege, and other places like Sudan and Yemen. They at least deserve our sincere dua. Just a sincere dua can make a difference. Allah sees that and He will make it fit as He wishes. It's all up to Allah. Also, do not forget the Sunday program to come and learn the Quran and the deen of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 11 o'clock on Sunday in this masjid, inshallah. 11 o'clock on Sunday. Jazakallah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum.